TGI Fridays in Metairie on Veterans Boulevard. 3330 Veterans is the address, right near Causeway Boulevard. Happy New Year, one and all. Welcome to our first edition of 2012 of sportsNOLAtv. Ken Trahan with you. Always a pleasure. Hope you had a wonderful Christmas and New Year's Day. And of course, football speaks loudly these days in the New Orleans area. What a bonanza. Sugar Bowl, BCS National Championship, and the New Orleans Saints in the playoffs and hosting a playoff game by virtue of winning their final 8 games of the season. Astonishing numbers put up by the New Orleans Saints offense at home in the Dome this year. Consider the fact that they averaged 41 points a game in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in 8 regular season games. That's mind-boggling. This isn't college football. This is the NFL, and that's your New Orleans Saints for 2011. Ken Trahan with you, sportsNOLAtv from TGI Fridays in Metairie. As always, we welcome our regulars. Our good and great friend, former Saints wide receiver, Torrance Small. Happy New Year to you, my friend.
Happy New Year, Ken. Happy New Year to all. Man, this was a record-breaking weekend, I tell you. Haven't seen as many records broke since they came out with the CDs.
Good. Well done. How do you top that, Brian Alley Walsh?
You don't.
sportsNOLA.com.
He's been waiting for that one. He has been saving that one for a long time.
Not bad. Happy New Year to you, buddy.
Happy New Year, man. It's good to be on this stage, especially with our good buddy Derlin Moore.
You just stole our thunder. Our special guest is a gentleman that played for the New Orleans Saints. There he is in action. Look, he sacks Bartkowski. I know he enjoys watching that. That would be a horse collar in today's game. Football's changed a little bit, much to the chagrin of this guy, who was a Pro Bowl player in 1983, played in as many seasons as any player in New Orleans Saints history, is in the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame, inducted into the New Orleans Saints Hall of Fame in 1991, Derlin Moore. Derlin, great to have you with us.
Thank you, Kenny. It's nice to be here.
Well, we'll start with you, Derlin. You watch with great interest the New Orleans Saints. I know you're proud of how they perform.
Absolutely.
You admire the way they go about their business. What impresses you the most about this Saints football team?
Oh, geez. They never quit. I mean, they keep coming at you. You're never gonna find anybody that's gonna accuse this coaching staff of playing to keep them getting beat. They're coming on the attack. Greg Williams, I mean, I'm waiting to see the dishwasher come running up on one of his blitzes. I mean, you know, it's just amazing, and it's really refreshing, especially when some of the regimes I played for, we played to keep getting beat. And it gets you beat every time.
The word relentless, I guess, is what he's talking about, Torrance.
Yes,
absolutely.
And that we are, offensively and defensively. We come at you and we do not stop. They just keep throwing the weapons at you. How many different receivers caught balls yesterday? We had some guys come off the bench that had their first catch of the year. So I think it's a great word, not just for the defense, but for the offense as well.
Brian, Sean Payton is that way. He invokes confidence in his players because he just keeps attacking all the time, and he never shuts it down. And I think that entered into his mind heading into that game yesterday. They hadn't won a regular season finale since he's been here, largely because they haven't played full out in many of those games or had nothing to play for. I think that factored into that way the Saints played yesterday.
I agree totally. You know, he wanted to keep the momentum going, build on that 7-game winning streak, and go in with additional confidence into the playoffs, Kenny. And you guys hit it right in the head. The relentless approach that they take. You know what? I remember the 2000 Greatest Show on Turf. This 09 offense was good. I never thought the 11 offense could be any better. This is the greatest offensive team that we've ever seen in the history of the National Football League, and that's saying a lot.
It really is. Now, the Saints established or set a ton of team and individual records against the Panthers. Let's take a look at some of these records, and as we do so, we're going to contemplate them, Derlin, and we're going to let you comment on what impresses you the most about these records, if any one of them impresses you the most. Look at that. First downs, over 71% completions, net passing yards, offensive. These are all NFL records by a team in a single season, and that's just a few of them. Drew Brees, we know he gets the all-time record. We know Darren Sproles got the all-time multi-purpose record. Graham had a record for a little while. Is there any one that impresses you more than anything else, Derlin?
No, it's a complete dominance of the game. They're dominating professional football the way that 71 Oklahoma offense went into Wishbone dominated college football. As far as the records following, they still got a lot of the records. And I mean, this team, you're going to have to be. It's going to be a long time before a lot of these records are broken. A long time.
Had to get a Jack Mildren reference in there and an Oklahoma Sooner reference. Well, I kind of knew that was coming. By the way, who won that game? Nebraska, 35-31.
Thank you,
I'm
Kenny.
just saying.
I appreciate that.
That's okay. I still love you.
I appreciate you reminding me.
No problem, man. Torrance, you saw the records. What about you? Is there anything that really impresses you most?
The one thing that impresses me more than anything is Drew Brees, the 71%. Come on, guys. As much as he throws the ball and completing at a high level, you have that is big. That is real big in these days. But not only that, that's something you have to look at when we're talking about the MVP people. I know we had Aaron Rodgers out there, but let's look at this 71%. That is a big margin. Not only did he has a higher percentage, but he threw the ball a lot more than Aaron Rodgers.
All right, Brian, it's your turn.
You know what? It's not a record, Kenny, but in all the attempts that Drew made this year, he fumbled one time. One time, and I think that was a bad snap, if I remember correctly. They've got to give that fumble to somebody. So that says a lot. That says a lot about your offensive line, and it says a lot about his ability to hold on to the ball. That's a record. It's not a record, but it's something that's amazing to me.
Yeah. But the one thing it says about this team here, it says that this team here is consistent. If you want to win a Super Bowl, you have to be consistent. One thing, we're going to be relentless, consistent. You know, I don't care if it's at the end of the game, before the game, we do not stop coming. That's the one thing I love about the Saints.
We know about offense and all the records, but let's talk about defense. Derlin, obviously that's where you come in, where you played. This defense is not one of the best defenses in the NFL, but it's an improved defense. If you look at what they've given up over the past 6 weeks, they're a better defensive team than they were earlier in the year.
Kenny, yes, they are, and they've improved every week. Every week they've improved. The thing that they do is they do a little bit of gambling. They make some mistakes sometimes, of course, but they make a lot more big plays than giving up big plays. I mean, a lot more. I mean, if you remember the year I'm sure you do. If you remember the year we won the Super Bowl, when we played Green Bay here in the Superdome, and Minnesota, and they were hitting Brett Favre so many times. Honestly, I really think that had a lot of effect on him making the decision to throw the ball instead of running for the first down because he was so beat up.
Yeah, I think the Saints may be a better team this year. We'll get into that during our hot seat segment a little bit later on in the show. But Brian, as you look at this defensive football team, they haven't forced the turnovers. They did get 2 yesterday. But this is a defense that seems to be a consistent defense in the sense that over the past month and a half, they've bent, but they haven't breaking, and typically they're only giving up 17 to 20 points a game.
I was going to say the point differential or the number of points that they allow each week is certainly reflective of if you've got a quarterback and an offense that can score 40 points a game at home, and if you only give up 17 a game, that's the kind of show you can take on the road.
Yeah. What's really remarkable, Torrance, is they went through an entire season, and their starting safeties, Malcolm Jenkins and Roman Harper, had 0 interceptions between them. That's incredible, and I'm not saying that to be negative, but to go through an entire season with no interceptions, especially when they played pretty well collectively, those two.
Those guys, they played pretty well. One thing they did very well is they played great against the defense. Great against the run. The one thing I do like about this defense is like an old boat. You can pull it back as far as you want, it will not break. And that's the one thing they've been consistent with. I'm very proud of one of our first rounders, Cameron Jordan. Had a great game. He's finally showing up. He's finally did something. I wish he could have got Cam Newton on that one play if he'd have grabbed him instead of trying to push him, big, strong guy. But I think they're coming around. They're playing great. They won't break. They're giving up just 3 points. They're not giving up a lot of touchdowns, and those are things that help us out.
Good to see Wilson make a play, Brian. Good to see Jordan playing pretty well. They're going to need these guys in the future to be a better defense.
Absolutely. I mean, if you can bring these guys along at this time of year, you might get a play or two in the playoffs. You never know. Derlin and I were talking about this off air. If you're Greg Williams, you've got such a wonderful luxury. You know that they're going to be able to score on offense. So you can do a little bit of gambling, as you said, Derlin. You know, you can take some risks knowing that if you make a mistake, you're going to get it back pretty soon.
Well, and we have to take those risks because we don't have the talent.
Absolutely. And another thing of it is, I mean, the offense, they're scoring so many points that the other offense, they're having to play catch up all the time. And they're playing right into Greg Williams' playbook of horrors because he's got a lot of nasties waiting for him.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what he's doing.
Yes, we're taking him out of character.
It's Sports NOLA TV from TGI Fridays in Metairie, right near Causeway. Glad you've joined us. We'll take a time out here. When we return in just a moment, we'll take a look around the NFL at the playoff picture. That's right, playoffs. That's right, playoffs. When we return with more Sports NOLA TV, right here on WHNO, Channel 20. Our Sports NOLA TV trivia question of the evening. Name the only two teams which have never won a game in the wild card round of the NFL playoffs. Only two that have not done so. Ponder it. Give it some thought. We'll have the answer for you in a little bit later. We'll see just how smart you are. Ken Trahan, Sports NOLA TV, TGI Fridays, 3330 Veterans Boulevard in Metairie. We thank Ronnie Bouvier and his crew for having us here. Once again, always a pleasure. And we now know the NFL playoff picture. It's been fully decided, so let's take a look at the NFL playoff picture and what's going to happen in the NFL based upon the results of the regular season. First of all, here's the NFC picture. Green Bay and San Francisco get the byes. The Lions at New Orleans to take on the Saints Saturday night, 7 p.m. And the Falcons get to go to MetLife Stadium to take on the Giants Sunday at noon. Of course, the Saints, should they win, would play at San Francisco. And the Falcons, of course, the wild card speaks well for the NFC South that they are a wild card team. So that's the NFC playoff picture. And we'll flip it over to the AFC side of things where New England and Baltimore are the 1 and 2 seeds with byes. Cincinnati, the 6th seed, gets in despite a loss, and they'll play at Houston, who limps into the playoffs. Pittsburgh will be on the road to play the team in Denver that has the worst record, but they are the division champion. That will conjure up memories of the Saints being at Seattle last year, frankly. And you see the game times of those respective games. Okay, Brian, you've seen the playoff picture in the NFC. Let's talk about this since our hot seat segment. We'll talk about who we like to win it all. Who's the dark horse team in the NFC? Who do you think really has a chance that people might not be giving a chance to?
Atlanta would be my choice. I mean, of the counting New Orleans in this wild card grouping, which I think they're heads and shoulders above everybody else. But I would say Atlanta's probably got the best chance to make some noise in the playoffs.
What about in the AFC? Flip it over there.
Ooh, good one. I would say probably Pittsburgh. I know that they're going in banged up, but they've got a great tradition. And I'll go 1B here. I think Cincinnati possibly could make some noise with Andy Dalton. They're probably, of all of the wild card teams, they're my biggest dark horse.
Okay, any dark horse, Derlin, for you in the NFC and in the AFC?
The AFC, Cincinnati.
Okay.
I like Cincinnati and the NFC.
It comes hard to him to say Atlanta.
You know
what I mean?
It'd have to be Atlanta. Atlanta's about the only ones got any shot at doing anything.
Yeah, I agree. Torrance?
Well, I'm gonna go with the Giants. I'm gonna go with the Giants. For one reason, I'm gonna go with the Giants. One, Eli is hot, and they are cruising with the man called Cruz, and also they have a great defense. They can get out to the pass rusher. And on the AFC side, I'm gonna go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Why? Again, defense. Defense, I think, guys, when you're in the playoffs, that's what helps you win ball games. And I think with Big Ben, he plays great when he's hurt. This team is a veteran team. They know how to overcome difficult times, and I think Pittsburgh.
Well, I like the Giants as my surprise team in the NFC. I think they're built for this. They're healthy up front on defense now. They can really get after the passer, rushing just 4. They have the ability to run the ball. That's key. And Eli Manning has played very well, and I think they'll win at home in the first round. And then they are the kind of team that can go to Green Bay and really give them trouble. Whether they can beat them or not, I don't know. But over in the AFC, I think Pittsburgh, I know a lot of people would say that's not a surprise. Well, they're not a top 2 seed, so I'd certainly put them in the category of a team that can win it, despite the fact that they're not a top 2 seed. So I think we got a pretty good consensus here overall of surprise teams. We'll get into our favorites coming up in the hot seat segment. As always, we welcome fan questions. We love doing so because we have the opportunity to let some of our fans that watch the show and that follow the Saints and LSU and Tulane and everything in sports in general come along and ask us questions, and we allow each of our panelists to answer a specific question. So it's time for our Sports NOLA TV fan question segment. And our first question is for Brian Aliwal. State your name. Where are you from?
My name's Sabrina, and I'm from Kenner. And my question is, can LSU defeat Alabama twice in 1 year?
Brian?
Sabrina, thanks for the question. I think it's a good one, but I think it's clearly, yes, they can. And not only can they will. When they meet here for the BCS championship, it's going to be obviously the two best teams are meeting, but I think LSU not only will beat them, but they'll beat them by more than the 3 points that they beat them earlier.
All right, our second question is for Derlin Moore, our Saints Hall of Famer. State your name and where you're from.
This is Hunter from Mandeville. I'm asking, now that next year Jefferson and Lee are going to graduate, is LSU going to be better or worse?
That's a good question, Derlin. So they lose their quarterbacks. Are they going to be better without them?
Are they going to be better without them? No.
Okay.
No, they won't be better without them. They're going to need those kids. They're going to be a little bit weaker. They've got a young team, but they're going to be a little bit weaker until the people who take their place, until they get seasoned a little bit. But that's really, Coach Les Miles has really done a great job. He and his staff have done a great job of bringing these kids along to start with. So I really have all the confidence in the world that they're up to the task of bringing these kids along, getting them seasoned, and then, at the beginning of the year, I'm sure they'll have some tasks that they're going to be challenged by, but I really believe when they get into the throngs of the season, they'll be doing just great.
They will have talent at quarterback with Zach Mettenberger and Gunnar Kiel.
Yes.
But young talent. We'll see how that manifests itself. All right, our next question is for Torrance Small. Fire away.
Hi, I'm Pam from Kenner. My question is, last time we played Detroit, they were missing 2 key players. What do we have to do to now stop them and win?
Good question. Detroit's very good offensively.
Yes, Detroit has one thing about this game here. I know we've been looking at defense. They're going to have Farley back. They're going to have Sue back, but we have a Pro Bowl offensive line, which I think can handle anything that they throw at us. We have a high-power offense. I think we're going to be good on that end. I really do. The thing that worries me a little bit about Detroit is they are explosive. If you look at their receivers, they have Kelvin Johnson, they have Thaddeus Young over there, they have Burleson. They have a lot of firepower themselves. As you saw this weekend, they put up a lot of points. So that kind of shakes me up a little bit, a little worried about them on that. But of course, our offense, I don't think they'll do much to our offense. It's our defense. Can we just hold on? Can we still bend and not break? And I think that'll be the key to the game.
Yep, should be a lot of offense in that game, unquestionably, in the Superdome on Saturday night. All right. Our fourth and final question, it's double your pleasure, double your fun. 2 for the price of 1, and we'll all take this question.
Hi, I'm Carlisle.
And I'm Haley.
We're Bob and Jan Carr's granddaughters.
And we're from New Orleans. We would like to know, will the Saints go all the way to the Super Bowl?
Oh my goodness, that's our hot seat question coming up in just a bit. So we're going to get into that extensively coming up. But, just in a word, can they get there, Brian, before we actually discuss whether they will get there?
Oh, absolutely, they can, and without blowing it, I think they will.
Derlin?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, man, there's no doubt about it. They're getting, in fact, they're peaking right now, so that's good. Yeah.
Torrance?
The Saints are right now playing at a level as no other team are playing right now. We're the hottest team out there right now. There's no doubt that I think they can make it all the way.
And I believe certainly that they can make it to the Super Bowl, and we'll get into our picks coming up in the hot seat segment, so stay tuned for that. Good question. Bob and Jan Carr, wonderful people and icons in the media industry in New Orleans. I had the pleasure of working at the same station with them in radio for quite some time and think the absolute world of them. Brian?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if the Saints play as well as those girls ask the question in tandem, the Saints are in wonderful company, I'll tell you.
Those were good questions. And, of course, we're going to
Absolutely.
talk about LSU coming up extensively, too. There's a lot of excitement about LSU. Derlin, you played in a great program in Oklahoma, played at a national championship level, and you see what's going on at LSU being from Louisiana. I mean, they really have it going, don't they?
Well, they're very physical. I mean, what they do is they just methodically beat Alabama down the last time they played, and I mean they have a depth, they have heart, they hit, and they're relentless as they can be, and I mean Les Miles has done a great job as coaching. I mean we beat Alabama in special teams. I mean it's real well. We got special teams, you got offense, you got defense, and we got it all three. Alabama had defense and offense, and they were short on special teams. It really ended up being the difference in the game.
Yeah.
I really think, and you looked at when they went into overtime, Alabama just got tired of being beat on. And you look at every team that's played LSU and during the season, a week after they played LSU, they really had a tough time because they were just so beat up.
Yeah, not only that, but LSU tends to be able to run the ball significantly better in the third and fourth quarters than they do in the first half. I do think they wear people down. They have more depth, and they pound on people, and they wear on people. I do think that that's been a large part of their success this year, and obviously what they hope happens on January 9th in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. BCS National Championship, of course, we'll have a lot of discussion on that coming up. We'll also talk about the All-State Sugar Bowl, pitting Michigan against Virginia Tech. But when we return in just a moment, we'll put Brian Alley Walsh on the hot seat, and we're going to ask him, can the Saints win the Super Bowl? Will they make it to the Super Bowl? Will they win the Super Bowl? And why? As Sports NOLA TV continues on WHNO. Our trivia question on Sports NOLA TV this evening: name the only two teams which have never won a game in the wild card round of the NFL playoffs. The answer is the Detroit Lions. We set you up for that one. And the Houston Texans. I got one of them right. Full disclosure, I did not get the other right, but I knew the Lions were one of those. And of course, they'll have a chance to change that, but they'll have to do so against the Saints in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, where no one else has won this year against this football team. Ken Trahan, Sports NOLA TV, 3330 Veterans at TGI Fridays, where the menu's great, diverse, inexpensive, and the food's great. And we appreciate TGI Fridays for hosting us once again this week. It is time now for our hot seat segment, where we put Brian Alley Walsh on the hot seat, light the fire, make him stew, get him excited, and then let him know why he's wrong. And today our subject matter surrounds the Super Bowl. Can the New Orleans Saints make it to the Super Bowl? Can they win the Super Bowl? And who do you like to win the Super Bowl? Brian?
Kenny, normally I like to stir that pot a little bit, okay? But today, I have thought long and hard, guys, about why the Saints can't win the Super Bowl or why they shouldn't win the Super Bowl. And for the life of me, you list the pros and cons, and there's all pros. I do not see, unless something happens to some key players between now and February the 5th, all right, I think the Saints are going to be representing the NFC up in Indianapolis, my hometown. Go on to our website, sportsNOLA.com, and you'll get more inside information as to why I think so. But to make it brief, Kenny, as long as their offense continues to play like it does, the old adage, defense wins championships, throw it out the door this year. That's grandfather's old adage. This year, the offenses win championships. Pittsburgh, Baltimore, San Francisco's, they're going to be a thing of the past. It's going to be either Green Bay or New Orleans, and I picked New Orleans to win it all.
I agree with you, my white, gray-bearded friend. That I do. The man hasn't said much all year, but he said something today. Offense will win the Super Bowl this year. And I honestly, I believe this. I don't think San Francisco has enough offense for us. Detroit, I think they're a young team. They have enough firepower, but our defense, I think, can hold them. I don't think their defense can hold us. So I think we'll get by them. As far as Green Bay, I think we're looking for that game. We want that matchup. But I don't think that matchup is going to happen. If you go back some years and you look at two teams that defeated Green Bay in the playoffs, the two teams that are playing against each other, the Giants and the Atlanta Falcons. And I believe both of those teams are built to go up there in this cold weather and take them down. I believe that, and I see that, and I see that the championship game is coming through New Orleans.
Derlin Moore.
I think that it's going to come down to, it's going to be New Orleans, it's going to be Green Bay. And they're going to go up there in the cold, snow, nastiest weather you've ever seen, and they're going to bring home the bacon. It's going to happen, simply because we got better coaching, we got more driven players. We have an offense that's unstoppable, and it's going to stay unstoppable. And we have a defensive coordinator that's going to send the pack after our good friends up there in Green Bay. So basically, New Orleans is bringing home the bacon. They're going to take it all. They're not going to overlook Detroit, San Francisco to get to Green Bay. They will bring home the bacon. They will go up there and take it to them.
You know, Torrance, you actually raised a good point, which I had not thought of, is the teams that had beaten Green Bay before with the Giants in Atlanta. In fact, you know, and we broached it earlier in the show, is that Eli Manning in New York will present a problem if they get past Atlanta, and they very well should and could. You know, so it could go through New Orleans. It really could go through New Orleans.
I'm looking at this thing. I look at this thing. I think it's going to be the Giants and the Saints in the NFC Championship.
Wow.
That's my call. You heard it first from me.
No, that's a good call.
Because
you're wrong, but that's a good call.
Hey, one thing the Giants do have is a defensive pass rush. And if you're going to stop Aaron Rodgers, you're going to have a pass rush.
You were good until you said that.
That's the one thing.
You were good. You know what? I keep hearing about this Giants pass rush, Derlin. I didn't see it here in town. Now, I know OC didn't play, right? Mm-hmm. He did not play, but I'll tell you what, with Drew Brees getting rid of the ball like they do and the pass protection they've been getting, I think they can negate that pass rush.
Let the defensive guy intermediate here. Come on, man.
No, they're too inconsistent. The Giants have been too inconsistent to come through and go game after game after game. They're just not disciplined enough right now. They have not shown me the discipline that it's going to take to stay in there week after week.
We're going to see. Look. We're going to see. The one thing you said, they didn't come here to New Orleans and do that. We have a Pro Bowl offensive line. That's the difference.
Well, that's my point,
That's the difference. Green Bay doesn't have a Pro Bowl offensive line.
No, I'm saying that's my point. The Giants
they don't have a Pro Bowl offensive line.
The Giants are not going to present a problem for the Saints.
I say the Giants going to beat Atlanta, and I say Giants going to go beat Green Bay.
All right, let's put a little friendly wager on that right now.
Go. You got to shade the beard. And I grow hair.
Whoa.
That's a pick.
Wow. All right, let's move right along, folks.
Time for the judge's ruling
here. If
here.
I lose, I grow my hair.
Not only do I think the New Orleans Saints can make it to the Super Bowl, I think they can win the Super Bowl, and I think they've got at least a 50% shot to do so, if not better. Although it's going to be a very tough road. As you look at the numbers over the years and getting there to win 3 games, they don't speak very well of the Saints' chances, but my eyes tell me what I'm looking at right now, and it's just excellence across the board where the Saints are concerned. An improving defense, elite kicking game, and a great offense. Not as good outdoors as indoors, but still awfully good. Going to San Francisco could be as tough as going to Green Bay. It's on a bad surface, some wind against a great defense. But I do believe the San Francisco 49ers are the equivalent of the New Orleans Saints circa Jim Mora. Great kicking game, great defense, and an offense that's pedestrian. Is that good enough to win a Super Bowl? I don't think so. The Packers have the offense to win a Super Bowl, and they'll have home field advantage. The Saints have the advantage of having played them once, understanding, and having played in that building. To go back, I think their chances would be significantly better. On the other side, I do think the Steelers are still a team to beat, but I do think, as Brian does, that this is the year of the offense, and that's why I like the Patriots to be the AFC representative against the New Orleans Saints. The judge has rendered his verdict. Are you satisfied?
Way to go, Judge. Way to go. The
left
bat is on.
speechless.
The bat is on.
Here come the judge.
The bat is on.
All right. We'll take a time out here. When we return in just a moment, we're going to have some fun talking about the Sugar Bowl. We're going to have some fun talking about the BCS National Championship game as well, and have some fun talking about pretty much everything. So all of that still to come. Glad you've joined us live from TGI Fridays in Metairie on Veterans Boulevard on sportsNOLAtv. A new feature debuts this week on sportsNOLA.com. Ask Sports NOLA. Send us your questions about the local sports scene either through the website, sportsNOLA.com, or our Facebook page, or on Twitter at sports-NOLA. We'll answer selected questions on the site each Wednesday, and each week in January, one lucky submission will win a family 4-pack of tickets to the Advance Auto Parts Monster Jam on January 28th in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. But you can only win by sending in your questions now for Ask Sports NOLA. And Brian, you're not eligible, so don't bother sending in 100 entries, okay? It isn't going to be accepted. Sorry. Speaking of Brian, his best friend, Marvelous Marvin LeBlanc, not with us today, but Marvin LeBlanc will be back with us next week with his Marvelous Minute of inspiration. Go to marvinleblanc.com/TV for more information. Noted author and protagonist of Brian Alley Walsh. He is Marvelous Marvin LeBlanc. We look forward to having Marvin back next week, Brian.
Kenny, I was hoping for some inspirational words to begin the new year for Marvelous, and now we've got to wait.
I'm sorry, I really am.
Yeah.
You know, I know it depresses you.
It does.
Soundly. Marvin, you are missed by some of us. Right, Torrance?
Oh, I missed
Yeah,
Marvin.
there you go. Okay.
Yes.
Just want to make sure we clarified that. Well, we've got a big game in New Orleans tomorrow night. The All-State Sugar Bowl pitting the Michigan Wolverines against the Virginia Tech Hokies. Two teams with impressive records. Durham, we'll start with you. You know a little bit about the Sugar Bowl. Been there, done that. What about Michigan and Virginia Tech? Two programs that have been very successful, long periods of time now.
Without a doubt, and Michigan's coming back from a disastrous part of their last 5 years. They haven't really done a whole lot. But you look at historically how teams do in the bowl games, and Michigan has, I think they have 21 wins, 19 losses in all the bowl games they've gone to, whereas Virginia Tech, they have 14 losses and 7 wins the whole time they've been going to bowl games. And the thing about it is Virginia Tech has won the last 2 they've been out. Okay, so I think in recent history, Virginia Tech is really coming on strong, improving the program. I looked at the schedule, and the schedules, Virginia Tech to me hasn't played the kind of schedule that Michigan's played. Michigan's played up there in the Big Ten, and they took it to a lot of people. I really think it's going to be a great game, but I think, in my opinion, I think Michigan's going to take it.
All right, good look at Logan Thomas, a big 6'6" quarterback who's rushed for 10 touchdowns and passed for 19, and of course their outstanding running back David Wilson, who's rushed for 1,627 yards. Brian, Virginia Tech certainly has some offensive capability.
They do, and you know what? I think this is one of these bowl games that people are saying because it's not a top BCS game and everything like that, they're kind of dismissing it. I think it's going to be one of the more competitive games that we're going to see, that are the special games.
I agree.
Beamers always come down to play great ball. One thing about both of these teams, we both said, I think they travel well. It's going to still be a win for New Orleans, regardless of what happened in this game. It's going to be a win for us, which is going to be a good thing. But I think everybody's going to get their money's worth. A high-power offense. I think it's going to be a lot of excitement. I think you'll enjoy it. It's something I'm looking forward to.
In fairness, Michigan has traveled better than Virginia Tech in terms of tickets sold and distributed for this game. You look at Michigan, Denard Robinson, 16 touchdowns rushing, 18 passing. What a dual-threat quarterback. This guy, you get him in space, forget about it. And of course, he's got a good running back in Fitz Toussaint, who's had a big year as well, with 1,059 yards and 9 touchdowns. Junior Hemingway, their best receiver when they do throw the ball. So Robinson is a guy that he's all about getting him in space, Brian. If he doesn't see that first read, he's gone.
You know what? And he likes the turf as well. When you look at Michigan's record, they're 10-2. They're 8-0 at home, 2-2 on the road. So is this the kind of team that can travel? Well, we'll see. But they certainly's got to like the turf in the dome.
Well, of course, the Michigan Wolverines and the Virginia Tech Hokies in what should be a very competitive All-State Sugar Bowl game. A lot of us have the privilege of being involved with the Sugar Bowl for a long period of time, and we appreciate what it means to this community and appreciate what they continue to put on. Speaking of the All-State Sugar Bowl, it's double duty because the BCS National Championship game follows with the LSU Tigers taking on the Alabama Crimson Tide for the National Championship January 9th. The teams arriving in New Orleans on Wednesday, so you usher out Michigan and Virginia Tech, check them out of the hotel Wednesday morning, check LSU and Alabama into the hotel Wednesday evening. What a crazy week this is going to be in this city, Derlin.
Oh, absolutely. But it's all fun. I tell you what, the business people love it.
Yeah.
They're making money hands over fist. But it is. It's good for the seat. It's good exposure. And they put on a heck of a show down there in the Superdome. They really do.
You like LSU or Alabama in the game?
LSU.
Okay, I'm asking. Hey, Oklahoma guy, he likes LSU.
No, you know what? Alabama's, I think, moved to a 1-point favorite.
Yeah, one and
right?
a half.
One
yes.
and a half.
Correct.
What's the reason behind that?
Probably, I don't know, they maybe moved to you got to believe it's a home site for LSU. It's home field advantage, right?
Everybody was betting on LSU, that's the reason.
Yes.
Well, typically speaking, the people that set that stuff have an idea about what they're doing, but
And they're trying to
certainly
move money around.
But from a betting perspective, that's really what drives it. So we'll see what it ends up by game time. But in terms of the game itself, Torrance, we've talked about it, and the more and more we look at this, the more we try to break it down on every aspect of the game. Alabama has a better running back than any of LSU's backs, but LSU's backs are collectively very good.
Yes.
Receivers, I'd give LSU an edge. Quarterback, I'd give LSU an edge. Offensive line, a wash. Defenses, probably a bit of a wash. Trent Richardson's a magnificent player. The kicking game, as I've said all along, is the thing that sets LSU apart from Alabama. As long as they can keep this guy contained. You know, you can't allow these 50, 60-yard runs by Trent Richardson. You got to keep him to those 10 to 20-yard runs. If you do, you'll be fine if you're LSU.
That's the thing I think LSU has to do. Control Richardson. That is their offense. As far as their defense, just keep sending the pressure on them. Relentless. We talked about being relentless, and one thing that LSU is relentless. They run the ball and they just wear you down. They wear that defense down. And I think it would, it'd be more than a 3-point game. This game, I think it will score more offensive points. LSU with Jefferson back there, but for us, their defense, Alabama has a great defense. They have a couple guys out there that's supposed to be highly rated going to the pros. There's cornerback and their safety. Supposed to be highly rated, going in the early round. But I don't think you got 4 running backs back there that you just keep sending at them, and you're able to throw the ball. We're able to stretch the field. We're able to stretch the field, not just vertical, but horizontal. And I think that's the thing that's going to win this ball game, as well as the special teams.
Terrence, what I think they're going to do is still going to be a conservative game. They're going to sit there and play chess the whole time, and they're going to wait for the other side to make the mistake, just like they did in Tuscaloosa.
I think that's true. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit more scoring, but I don't think it's going to be, by any stretch of the imagination, a score fest. These are 2 great defenses. They're simply not going to allow it, although they'll probably score a little bit more in this one than the first time around. When we return, we'll take a final look at the Saints and the Lions in the Superdome when sportsNOLAtv continues. It's here. It's always Friday in here at TGI Fridays, 3330 Veterans Boulevard in Metairie. The phone number, of course, on screen, 887-7788. 3330 Veterans Boulevard. Great food, great companionship, great fellowship, great fun. Always great to be here with sportsNOLA.com. I come here to lunch frequently and enjoy it because it's inexpensive and it is outstanding. Ken Trahan, sportsNOLAtv. The Saints, playoff bound at home in the first round, wild card round against the Detroit Lions. There are your records: 10-6, 13-3. Saints beat them the first time around in the same location, 31-17. You see the numbers there, Brian. Anything stand out from that game going into this game?
Well, I tell you what, if you want to see points and yards put up, Saturday night is the place to be in the Superdome. You've got 2 quarterbacks that have both thrown for more than 5,000 yards. This is unprecedented in the National Football League.
Matthew Stafford's had a remarkable year, Daryl, and he's been overshadowed because of the year that Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Tom Brady have had. But this guy's had a heck of a year.
But he really has. I mean, he's really stood up to the plate, and he seems confident. We're going to see a different team this week coming in. I promise you we'll see a different team. They can't take the same tack, because if they stand in there and try to play like they did last week, they're going to get beat to death. So they're going to do something a little bit different. They got to.
Torrance, to me, it's all about whether the Saints can block the Detroit defensive front. If they can, I don't see any way Detroit has a chance to win.
Yeah, I don't see, again, I say, we have a Pro Bowl line. I think all our offensive line should be in the Pro Bowl. They've been protecting Drew all year, done a great job, and Drew has been tremendous. I mean, just excellent, distributing the ball to all the players. Everybody is being where they're supposed to be. The most consistent offense out there right now. I know Green Bay is doing all the things they're doing, but if you want to talk about consistency, look at the New Orleans Saints.
Brian, as we let you comment, let's put the full playoff schedule again up for people, for everybody to see about the full playoff schedule of games. And there you have it, the wild card weekend, divisional playoffs, and then the Super Bowl coming up on February 5th following those 3 rounds of playoffs. Brian?
Kenny, I think it's all about, from Detroit's standpoint, and I agree totally with Derlin, is Detroit's going to have to come in here and do something different. They're going to have to take some risks. They've got nothing to lose. They need to change possessions. Somehow they've got to try to limit the number of possessions the Saints have, and they've got to create some more for themselves. So what does that mean? You got to take some risk, whether it be an onside kick or something like that, Kenny. They've got to do something different.
Turnovers, they need turnovers, Derlin, and they have to be able to run the ball, and Detroit hasn't run it all year long.
No, they haven't. And I really, honestly, I really look up for them to run the ball. They're going to try to run the ball. They're going to try to set something down. They're going to have to keep the ball from getting to New Orleans, as much as what they did last time, because if Drew Brees gets a hold of the ball, he's going to the end zone with it every time. So they got to slow the game down.
Torrance, final thought.
Well, the one thing you said something big is New Orleans is averaging almost 70 plays per offense. I hate to be in that film section and have to sit around and watch all those plays, but you're right. They're going to have to limit those plays to Drew Brees.
Well, Torrance, a pleasure as always. Brian, Happy New Year to you, my friend.
Yes,
Daryl
Happy New
Moore,
Year. Happy
great
New
having you with us today,
Thank you,
buddy.
Katie.
It's been a real pleasure.
George.
I want to
That's
thank
right,
all of
Brian.
you as well for making sportsNOLA.com the best website in Louisiana, and sportsNOLA TV a growing show in this marketplace. We really appreciate you. For our entire crew, now this is Ken Trahan saying thanks for joining us and be a good sport. God bless you one and all. We are rounding third and heading home. So long.